I want to make a little spiritual vlog about what just happened in my acting class today. So this is spiritually relevant too, because a lot of spirituality is about seeing dimensions that exist beyond the mind. That's basically the premise of Eckhart Tolle's entire book, The Power of Now. He talks about very deeply tapping into the experience now without the interference of the logical mind, or the ego mind, the mind sphere. And basically in acting school, in Meisner training, we work on imagination. So you imagine a circumstance that has some emotional meaning to you, and then if you think about it, if you feel it, if you cook it up, if you visualize it, if you experience it, you will live as if it's actually happening. And that's actually an interesting thing to think about for normal life, when the mind is constantly thinking about a bunch of stuff, it's an unconscious imagination. It's normally a negative imagination. This is an imagination that is controlled in a way, in the sense you set the direction, but it's also uncontrolled because you never know where it's going to take you, right? But basically, as I walked out of the class, I spoke to the teacher, Marco, and I said, thank you. I started taking classes 8 years ago here, and I said, thank you for helping me break out of my mind, out of my logical mind. There are certain things that, like questions other students are asking, that I would have asked before that I wouldn't ask now. There are certain things, there's certain freedoms that I have now that I didn't have before, when I was bound by incessantly, logically planning the future according to what I thought in my own head, as opposed to allowing myself to go with the flow a lot more than I used to. There's a lot more intuition I have access to now that I didn't before. And I attribute it heavily to a lot of what I've done, the way I've lived my life, the type of music I've written, the ways I've interacted with people, but also this specific training at this acting studio, Truthful Acting Studios. And, the whole course of my 20s has been a very long, winding path. I'll be 30 next month, and right now is about the 10-year anniversary of me reading The Power of Now. I read it about June 12, June 13 something. I first got it in 2012. My friend was coming to visit me. I was at the University of Florida. He was at Florida State University. And he was driving to come see me. And he said, hey, I'm going to be 15 minutes late. Okay. I'm going to stop somewhere to get you something. Okay. He gives me The Power of Now. And we'd heard about it in our high school class a few years earlier, in our junior year. And basically the whole thing my whole 20s has been a winding ride that I didn't expect. Like, I thought I'd be on a corporate path. That's what I thought for a very long time, and now it's just it's changed so drastically and dramatically, and I'm doing things that I'm so much more have a calling towards, and I've grown in so many amazing ways. Now, this music, this acting, this art, this tennis, it wouldn't happen had I not had my brain and soul infused with these types of ideas earlier on. So if anybody's watching and they're trying to make a life change, I'd recommend reading The Power of Now. I'd recommend learning about the inner workings of the mind, and how learning about the soul, reading and studying spirituality, because that's the fundamental underpinning that can help one actually find their true calling. At whatever age, whether they be in their 20s, their teens, or their 50s, or their 60s, or 80s, or whatever it may be, because it's really a series of mental decisions, spiritual and mental decisions. And when you have a strong understanding of yourself, you can be tapped into higher things. So that can elucidate a much better path. So anyway, I just like to share that with you right now. I hope you enjoyed it.